Jess. Good to see you. Hi, retired grandma. Good to see you. Your essentials dreamer. Good to see everyone. All right, there we go. Perfecto. Looks like I am live everywhere. I will get started in just a few minutes. I'm going to tap the screen. I don't know why my screen is so blurry. Looks like I have a filter on, but I don't. Great. Welcome in, welcome in. My apologies, a little late today. I've been really busy working on the website for the school and putting the final touches on the school catalog and just really getting everything together for you guys. If you're new to my channel or my content, welcome. I'm actually going to move this camera. I'm going to move the tiki-taki camera to something down here. Perfect. All right. That's a little bit better. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Dr. Erica Steele, and I'm a board-certified naturopathic doctor. I hold 7 degrees in my field, and they're all in the natural healthcare space. And kind of how I kind of came to be with all of those is, working with patients. I started off as a massage therapist a long time ago. I became a massage therapist professionally when I was 16. I'm 40 now, so do the math. And I pretty much just saw that people really needed more, where I had a really good success with them doing manual therapy. I worked with a lot of athletes. I did a lot of kind of PT style work in that field, and I got into teaching. I taught a lot, so I had this really kind of eclectic background. Was even in a business and owned businesses since I was 17, so really young, all in the holistic healthcare space. So, I've seen this field grow and evolve over the years, just incredibly so, into what it is today. So I wanted to come on and kind of introduce you to my school. If you're not familiar with my work professionally, that I could literally go on and on and on, but the big stuff, at least in my career now, is I'm a board certified naturopathic doctor and I hold the 7 degrees. But more so than that, I was in general family practice for about 15 years. And I treated over 40,000 patients in general family practice. So I did a lot, just in that space in terms of family health. So I worked with and still work with, on a very small scale, people with chronic diseases. So the gamut of chronic disease, from digestive, hormonal, neurological, neurodivergent, digestive, autoimmunity. Thank you for the heart me. Autoimmunity, all sorts of different conditions. But then I also worked with the spectrum of mental health, people that were struggling with depression or anxiety or autism or any level of neurodivergence, or people that didn't necessarily want to be on synthetics for their mental health. So I did a lot in that realm and did a lot of additional education. Hey, Fit Mom, did a lot of additional education in the mental health, psychosocial space. So that was really fun. And also working with a lot of high-level professionals, with business and with an MBA, really teaching people, blessed high rising, really teaching people how to optimize and create that work-life balance that people so often don't have, and really optimizing their work where it's really authentic with them and it works, well with them, and help. I always like to say, people have come to my practice and literally throw their lives like on my desk, and it's been my job to kind of sift and sort and provide real practical solutions that people could apply every single day. So working with those high-level professionals, and then working with a lot of families. So little kids, babies, perinatal, prenatal, family dynamic, family systems, married people, just how our families kind of work together, and then also teaching families how to raise their children holistically and naturally and homeopathically and all of those things. Hey, Daphne. Hey, Shaggy. Welcome in. And then because I was an athlete myself, working with a lot of athletes, teaching people how to lose weight, gain weight, build muscle. Again, having that, background with working with athletes as a massage therapist at the beginning of my career, I applied that with nutrition. And so I spent a lot of time really focused on several areas in my practice. And so I share this with you to help you to get some ideas about perhaps where you want to go in your career. There's so many different places you can go with holistic health. There's so many different opportunities. I've pretty much sampled the gamut over 20 years, and so have a lot of resources to provide. So working with athletes was a lot of fun, and helping people, really optimize and biohack their bodies, not to use like a tech bro word, but, that's in essence what I would do, is really work with people to biohack their system. Then, the other aspects was really working with patients, again, to lose weight, optimize, etc., on that end. So it wasn't just like building up the body, but it was also, helping people trim down. And I had, aesthetics and all kinds of different things for that. So I learned a lot in that realm, in kind of the med spa sector. So I think that covers the gamut of it: chronic illness, mental health, family health care, high-level professionals, and then that kind of weight loss, weight gain, athletic crowd. So that was like really, and has been, my 5, real strong patient group. And I find that those patient groups are, the most amenable and the most receptive to the work that we do. Are they the only people that need it? Absolutely not. I think everybody needs to have a holistic doctor, and I really try to make holistic medicine accessible for people, even with my pricing, even still with my pricing, so that it's not so, exorbitant. It's still an investment naturally, but it's truly an investment, that is going to save you in the long run with health conditions and runarounds and copays and banging your head up against a wall and not getting any support or help or any guidance in the healthcare field. So that's a little bit about my background. Now I want to jump into, what I'm presenting today, which is why I built a holistic school. So let's go ahead and start. I had been in my practice for a long time. I always kind of had like the idea or the concept or just the desire to want to bring about an educational platform, a school, something, because I saw such a huge need in the holistic healthcare space. A lot of practitioners came from so many different backgrounds when it came to their educational standard, and that still rings true today. And there's a distinction between functional medicine, integrative medicine, alternative medicine, holistic medicine, mind-body medicine. These are all distinct practices. What we're seeing right now in public health is all of those very separate, distinct practices are being kind of all it's like word salad. I mean, not to use, a MAGA term, but like all like the words matter and words mean things, and proper terminology matters. And I was speaking to a friend yesterday and I was like, why am I like this? Why is it that I'm the one that like really is very like to the letter about things? And it's because of my background, my training, my understanding, and my depth of understanding. We're living, unfortunately, in a culture that is very like three steps to this microwave, and very instant reactionary practices. And that's really our current healthcare system. It's extremely reactionary, and it's not about responding. It's not about critical thinking. It's not about thinking through cases. It's not about really doing the work on the provider side, or even in times some of the patient side. And I don't fault the patients, because I think that patients at this point are just so exhausted with the ineffectualism of the healthcare system. They're so tired and burnout and worn out and frustrated and not getting any answers, that I think it's definitely a like a learned helplessness, where they kind of just throw their hands up and go, forget it, I'm just going to curl up in my room and do whatever. So, we have a lot of challenges with that. We have a lot of disdain, but we also have a lot of opportunities, as well, that are in the holistic health space. So I'm really excited about that in general. So if I haven't welcomed you by now, welcome in. This will be recorded. So you'll be able to go afterwards. If you can't stay for the whole thing, you'll be able to go and watch it afterwards on YouTube, and also in the community. I will post it later today. So I founded the school quite simply because of a lack of standard. So even as a naturopath, I really fought legislatively with my public health background and degree. I fought legislatively to protect not just holistic practices, but naturopathic practices and medical freedom as well. So the right to have autonomy over our bodies and the right to choose what it is that we get to do with our bodies based off of informed consent, because I saw real problems systemically where people were not able to have their proper informed consent. And by people, I mean specifically Black and Indigenous people were not being provided proper informed consent. And I'm not saying that we were the only ones, but disproportionately, statistically, we receive 52% subpar care, worse in the South. And we all know about the Black maternal mortality rate. And by now, we all know about the situation with the Georgia woman who is being held pretty much against her and her family's will on life support to pretty much be an incubator. This is because we lack human rights. We only have civil rights, which have to be codified. So I saw an intersection where, the healthcare system not only was in its current state not safe for Black and Brown and Indigenous people, but also too, it's a post-colonized system. Thank you, Fit Mom. A post-colonized system. And what do I mean by that? I mean that our healthcare system was never built for us. It was never built by us. When the healthcare system was built in the 40s with Rockefeller and all of that, we did not have, again, we were not considered human. And because of that, we were practiced on with, the father of gynecology, which I will not say his name. We were practiced on with vaccinations as well. We also were used in the Tuskegee experiments, and this was in the 70s, 76, after Nuremberg Code, which happened in the 40s. So we actually are exempted from Nuremberg. And even though they tested on us during Nuremberg, thank you for the roses, they still are in human rights violations in the medical industry. So when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a doctor. I studied these doctors. I studied their origins. I did not want to align with Rockefeller. Therefore, I became a naturopath and held on to being 100% non-DEA naturopath. So there are two different types of naturopaths. There's the NMD, which is the naturopathic medical doctor who we legislate against, and then there's naturopathic doctors. The naturopathic medical doctors hold their 6 schools. And these 6 schools have successfully gained licensure and pretty much shut us out, people that choose not to be a part of the system and choose not to be complicit to the allopathic healthcare system. The NMDs want to, do much like the osteopaths did and kind of surrender over their natural practices to align with big pharma and align with pretty much the allopathic standard, of care. So they're hybrid. They do a little bit of naturopathy and natural practices and a little bit of conventional practices as well. I don't think they're trained properly in either one, because terrain theory is what we learn as, holistic health healers. We learn the functions of the body, much like in functional medicine, but in even deeper connection. And we are not trained effectively in the diagnose and manage model, which the conventional doctors, that is their bread and butter, is diagnose and manage, because that's the system to which Rockefeller established way back when in order to create the medical monopoly. So, with all of that being said, I saw that our people were, unaliving in the system, being misdiagnosed. I would often have people come into my practice who had legitimate medical concerns, ectopic pregnancy, vaccine injuries, really aggressive care. They had iatrogenics or medical trauma. They had been through all different providers and no answers, tons sicker. They would come in with buckets of medication and not knowing who, what, when, where, and why. I had patients that had strokes who were misdiagnosed. I can go on and on and on, and so once you begin to see these things, you can't unsee them, right? Like I'm not a person that lacks that much integrity that if I see something that I'm going to just turn a blind eye and pretend like it wasn't a thing. And so that was also why, again, I built Holistic Family Practice, which was really the first of its kind. And in my opinion, the only of its kind. I've been, people try to rip it off many times, but it was a very unique practice in Virginia Beach. And I wanted to build a fully functioning family practice that, could serve, my daughter or my family members or people, that was a safe place for people to come that wanted to explore a holistic way, a natural way. So I was very successful. I blew up. I treated over 40,000 patients in general family practice, but I realized that I am one human. And I really needed to create a large spectrum of providers that could assist me with the systemic issues in public health education, because I learned in my MBA that that is really one of the intersections that exist within our healthcare system, is that there is a lot of ignorance. And unfortunately, as much as I would like to say that is going to be going away now, especially with the new MAHA report, which, I'll be doing a live tomorrow afternoon on the new MAHA report, which is what came out in public health, our marching orders or our, prescription or whatever for public health. So it's hilarious and it's laughable, but it even more reinforces, what my ancestors have been telling me all along, which is really to prepare people for, being able to support us in a healthcare system collapse. I've been saying this for years. The healthcare system is not going to get any better. I wish that I had great news and I'm like, oh yeah, I've studied it and approached it and attacked it from all different angles, and I can tell you definitively that there is so much corruption, there is so much greed, and that is even more now. But now it's going to be slapped with a natural medicine band-aid, or a perceived natural medicine band-aid. So me wanting to really get ahead of it really quick before we move on. So in my field, we have our board, American Naturopathic Association, and I think it has other acronyms. I could be wrong. I'm horrible at acronyms, by the way. So I was going to be, helping them kind of spearhead with the Department of Education, structuring their curriculum for all the naturopathic schools across the country. However, when our elections came out and I saw that human rights was not on the table for many of my colleagues, that human rights could be looked past for a dollar. Again, I recused myself and decided to build my school. And so, I really am a woman of integrity. I feel like our practices have been colonized and are continuing to be colonized. I cannot really even tell you one Black or brown or Indigenous person that I don't know that doesn't have some connection to holistic medicine, that doesn't have a grandma or an auntie or a mom or some person in their lineage who has shared with them some home remedy, some natural herbs, some concoction of some sort. And so I really felt like this was our birthright, to build, to really hold on to holistic medicine. So, words matter. They have colonized holistic medicine to call it integrative medicine and call it functional medicine and call it naturopathy and call it all of these things, which now they legislate with all those terms, and that's great for them, wonderful. But holistic medicine is ours. And so building a school that honors that and sees that, but also looks at the diversity that we have as Indigenous people. I've also traveled the world. I currently live in St. Lucia, and it was also important to me to incorporate Indigenous medicines from all over the world, because so many different tribes and so many different cultures have so much knowledge and wisdom to share that has unfortunately been suppressed and told that that's barbaric and that's superstition and all those things, only for those things to then be taken, repackaged, remarketed, and resold back to us as, the next, health trend, right? Like think of like moringa, think of, any sort of, CMOS, think of any sort of, tool that we've used in our tool bag. Unfortunately, it's being capitalized more and more and more. And not just by allopathic physicians, unfortunately, it's also being capitalized by people that hang their shingle as natural providers, as holistic providers, as alternative providers, et cetera, not having the scientific understanding. So it was really important to me to create the scientific structure in addition to the holistic practices and the modalities for that. So that is why I created my school, really to decolonize our healthcare, to really return back to our roots, and of course, create qualified holistic leaders all over the world, practitioners either coming from so many different places or backgrounds, etc. All right, so why the school, why now? I wanted to create a digital global classroom, which I have. that is more of a hybrid style. So when I say hybrid, meaning that it has an online component for the convenient factor. It has different class structures because we have different types of learners, but then it also has the hybrid component on the graduate level where you can come to a place like St. Lucia and actually learn from people that work closely with Indigenous medicines. So, it really offers an opportunity not only to educate people on really the roots, but also to gives an opportunity to service a post-colonized community with public health. Unfortunately, St. Lucia desperately needs public health and public health care. And also the people here, it is a privilege to have health care. And so I saw it as really a good synergy to be able to help the people of the region, and then also to be able to get the education and hands-on experience that then you can take wherever. So that will be, of course, down the road. We are just getting started in this journey. Many of you know, I started the structure of it. I went back for my MBA, started this last year, and now, this year in January, I've been launching it. And, it takes time to launch something intentionally. And that's really been my focus, is launching something very intentionally, just like I did many, many years ago with holistic family practice. I was really, easy does it. I really worked, every single day relentlessly. I don't work as much as I used to, but I'm very intentional with the time that I spend. So I definitely believe that there's an urgent need for culturally intelligent, spiritually grounded, and scientifically informed practitioners to really combat this, broken system that is upon us. All right. So who this school serves. So aspiring holistic practitioners, people that have always wanted to go into this field professionally, that are really looking for a structured education in integrative health sciences and holistic medicine, et cetera. Also burned out healthcare professionals that I've listened to for years and years and years, medical doctors, physician's assistants, mental health practitioners, nurse practitioners, people that have seen it just like I have, the, just absolute disaster that is our healthcare system. And for whatever reason, are, in the allopathic conventional model and want to get out. Also, too, there are a lot of self-learners, people that, maybe necessarily don't want to, do this professionally, but they want to learn for themselves to, keep their families healthy, to treat themselves or their communities. And then naturally, people that want personal empowerment. Hey, Chrissy, there is a lot of individuals that have been burnt by the healthcare system, and they don't trust, and they're not easily trusting. And it doesn't matter what provider they go to, they're still going to resist, they're still going to avoid, they're still going to deny, because they've been let down so much. And so as a response to that, again, creating these self-guided courses that people could take, learn the information, apply, and then, help their families. We are going through the accreditation process. I want to let you know, again, very intentionally. So first things first, the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine is one organization that we are seeking accreditation through. The International Council for Alternative and Holistic Practitioners as well, and the Complementary Medical Association. So these are transferable internationally. I wanted to make sure that I chose well-recognized accrediting bodies that would go not just domestically, but internationally as well. And then now finally, we've gotten word that a federal judge has blocked the executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. That is good news for us because, I believe in standards. I believe in, structure. I believe in the Department of Education. I know many of us who have been through the education system also believe in it. Is it perfect? No. However, I do want to contribute this to it once we get there to that level. So, hey, Red. So we start off with certifications and then we go into degree programs. And so that's kind of the trajectory, at least for the school. Right now, I have 2 courses. We have Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, which I just finished teaching. It should be good to go, but I am going to give it a quick breeze. Many people got in, really early on, and they got in for really affordable rate. And so the rates have gone up for the course. However, I do have some good news for you there. So Intro to Holistic Medicine 1 is a 12-week curriculum really focused on nutrient deficiencies. Thank you for the roses, Red. Nutrient deficiencies teaches you subjective and objective data, teaches you the foundations, and really walks you through. That course is $297. It is a foundations course. So foundation courses are 12-week courses. And then we have Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, which is about to come up next week. That course is $297 as well. Again, I live stream the classes, so you can catch them. And then for you to see them afterwards and all that kind of stuff to gain access, that's the pricing structure. Now, if you have already taken Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, it would just be the difference, right? Because as a bonus, I'm going to do it buy one, get one free. So if you invest in one of the courses, I'll throw in the other one. So they'll be under the same kind of umbrella, if you will. And so if you've already paid for Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, it would just be the difference between the $297 and what you paid, which I think was a little over $100. So that is that for our Intro to Holistic Medicine 1 and our Intro to Holistic Medicine 2. So Intro to Holistic Medicine 1 is already done. It's recorded. We already went through it. If you need any additional support in knowing what you need to do to complete that, please reach out to me. And next week on Wednesday, I start teaching Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, which is all about detoxification. So disease happens for 4 major reasons. You have nutrient deficiencies, which I go over in Intro to Holistic Medicine 1. Increased toxins. So if your body doesn't have enough nutrients, naturally your body's going to not have the energy to be able to detoxify and eliminate properly. So we are going to go over detoxification practices, primary and secondary eliminatory organs, phase 1, phase 2 liver, stomach acid testing, large bowel transit time testing, and really get into some basic detox protocols that are safe and effective for you to do at home. Again, family, friends, that sort of thing. And I'll also be teaching you a little bit about structures of more advanced detoxing. So it's like you guys are little babies and I'm going to raise you up. And so these are 2 of our foundational courses. In order to qualify for the Holistic Health Coaching Program, you need to take 2 of our foundational courses. So once I finish with Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, I go into our next foundational course, which I think is Holistic Health Sciences. It's all about the pyramid, which goes into our kind of structure that we work with and we treat based off of. We also have 4-week collectives. These are 4-week courses. I launch Jumpstart to Healthy Eating next week. I'm going to do 1 live and 1 pre-recorded per week. So Jumpstart to Healthy Living, or Healthy Eating rather, is all about food. It's all about your macros, and it gets deeper into kind of meal planning and that sort of thing. It's really designed for busy people, which I used to be super, super crazy busy busy. And so I still needed to eat healthy. And so I learned all kinds of things that taught me how to eat healthy so that I could, of course, teach my patients. So that one will be a live class. I'll be hosting it on Thursdays, probably in the evening at 7 p.m., but I will confirm the time with you guys. I will be recording probably Metabolic pH Reset, and so that one you'll be able to also invest in. And then, it'll just be pre-recorded. So I won't be teaching it live. I've thought about maybe doing like live Zoom if there's an interest in that. I just won't be teaching it like out in the world. So it'll be like in our community that's private. The 4-week collectives also too are a different pricing structure. They are about $97 for the 4-week courses. So they're a little more affordable. They also apply towards your holistic health coaching cohort. So you have your foundations, you have your modules, and then for, your kind of specialization electives, this is where you choose your collectives. We focus on collectives from all different areas: mental, emotional, decision making. We do spiritual. We do more physical, metabolic, more of your foundational. So there's all the different kinds of collectives. We do have a course catalog that you'll be able to download, and then I'll be emailing out by next week. I just have to finish the last little bits in it. So 4-week classes, also 12-week classes as well. All right, so I have been working feverishly on our new website. That is actually not what it looks like. That's just a pretty picture, and I liked it so much. I like the colors. So I am going to pull this up. So give me a moment. Let's see. All right, I think. Give me just a moment. All right, cool. All right, so let me flip my camera around. Now figuring out how to flip my camera around on this thing. There we go. All right. So let me move my camera and my body. All right. All right. Bear with me. TikTok. Okay, so this is our website for this school. Has this pretty picture on it. And then inspiring global wellness leaders. So this is transferable again internationally, not just locally. Also, it talks about our expert-led education. So it's not just me teaching. I have over the years lots and lots and lots of colleagues that I have lots of experience with, and I'll be reaching out to as well. One of the things that was important to me was to really make a flexible learning environment that people could, really fit into their lifestyle and be in flow with. Also, global was important to me, not just being in the domestic area, because we need healthcare, globally, not just in the United States. And the other thing that was really important to me was finding also people that had real world experience to be able to offer as well. So not just people that were credentialed, et cetera, but also people that had, real world experience. So there's, again, 4 different kind of structures. So there's our 4-week collectives, which like Jumpstart to Healthy Eating and Metabolic pH emotions as a tool, primitive mind mastery. Then we have our 12-week foundational courses. So Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, which is nutrient deficiencies and root cause, foundations, Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, which is detoxification and elimination. Then the other foundational courses are Holistic Health Sciences, Foundations of the Holistic Healthcare Pyramid, which I'll be teaching next. And then Intro to Holistic Medicine, A Beginner's Guide to Natural Healing. And then there's a New Patient Collective as well. And those last really teach more for if you're doing corporate or you're doing more like education. And also you need clinical. And then that builds up into our 12-week certification program. There is a holistic health coaching 1-year-long program, which has all the core modules, electives, practicum, and your certification exam. And then there's a bridge program for holistic healthcare providers. Those are people who already have healthcare experience of some sort. And so it provides a bridge for them to learn. And then I already teach my morning flows. I teach them 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. And then I'll also be doing some evening flows as well around 8 p.m. and more than likely Tuesdays and Thursdays for that. So morning flow is where I start the day with movement, with breath work and meditation and planning your day. It's a good way to live your life intentionally. These are free classes. The playlists are also on YouTube afterwards. And then evening flow is where we release our day, close out our day, issue some gratitude, and make sure that we go to bed in alignment with our true self and our identity. So we get a little bit more into kind of alchemizing, as you start to build. I teach a structure for your day, beginning, middle, and end. So morning flow and evening flow are beginning and ends of your day. And then naturally your work and school and family and all that is your middle of the day. So those are free classes that I offer. Underneath here, which it's not there yet, it says coming soon, but this is where you'll be able to download the course catalog. I did do a video reviewing the course catalog, and it kind of goes over, the format, the 4-week collectives, the 12-week foundation courses, and then the certification paths. In case you're unclear, this is kind of our learning roadmap. So you can start off here with our free communities access. If you go to the link in my bio, scroll down, it's the third link down, and that's our free communities. We have 3 communities, which are our holistic health coaching community, our holistic lifestyle community, and then our Pure Black, our Afro-Indigenous community. So these are free communities that have free resources in them. You can reach out to me or anybody from my team. Also, if you need to order supplements, those kinds of things. So it's like a nice, safe container, and you will have access to some intro classes in there as I kind of build these things out. And then once you kind of work through there, you can opt into a 12-week foundational course. That's more of a larger commitment. Or if you just want to do some skill building, you can do the 4-week collective. So it's really up to you kind of how you want to do it. But the intention is really to connect, learn, build, and then lastly, if you so choose to move into a certification and mentorship, that's where you really grow because you start to apply all the things that you're learning in real world settings. So that's where, you would be, shadow me in virtual appointments that I have, and also me working with you guys one-on-one to really teach you more clinical skills and more nuanced clinical skills, I must add. I have been featured on so many different things, but I specifically was on the Doctors. I've been featured in Forbes many times. I have 3 podcasts: Decolonize Your Healthcare, Respect Black Women, Confessions of a Holistic Doctor, and I also have another one but I haven't completely launched it yet. I also have a column on Psychology Today, bringing care back to healthcare. And I'll be talking to you guys a little bit about what my next article is. So definitely go subscribe to that. And I've also been a contributor to Mind Body Green and several other publications kind of similar to Mind Body Green. Here's my statement where I'm talking about the accreditation bodies that I am applying to. And then there's some general questions, and then just discussing, the future, really this being the future of holistic healthcare education. So this is our main homepage for our site. So when you go into our classes, let me make sure, it goes into our education calendar. I've already kind of started pulling this up. So in our, hey Wireless, in our calendar, I have kind of that Notion thing. So it goes over the particular class. So when you open it up, it'll go over when the class starts, when the class ends, what type of class it is. It's a 12-week or 4-week, what kind of audience level it is, beginner, middle, advanced. If it's a live or a pre-recorded class, it talks about, kind of gives you a brief synopsis of the class, and then we'll have a registration link for you there. So this is what I've been working on and trying to perfect for you guys so that we get it together. So here we go. So for those of you on YouTube, I don't think you saw this. This is the card once you click on View Classes, Intro to Holistic Medicine. Thank you. I know I've been working my little tushy off. The start date, the end date, the type, audience level, live or recorded, and then description. I know, Wireless, I may have to hit you up for some education, girl, because you got a lot to share. Okay, so that is how that goes. And then there was one other thing. Oh yeah. Okay. So when you come back to this page, you can also filter out, and you can filter this out in terms of, start date, end date, if it's live or recorded, these kinds of things. So you can filter out what works best for you. When you go to the main website, it actually has on there like a form that asks if you prefer pre-recorded classes or you prefer live classes. It also specifies the types of classes. So these foundational classes that are 12 weeks that I host live, and then it has a calendar that you can go ahead and register for the class as well. So we're still kind of working it. There'll be a little button here to make it a little bit easier, because this is just a calendar to put it in your schedule. And so there'll be a button to actually register. So I'm working on it, getting it in there. And then it specifies your 4-week collectives, what those are, examples of those. Yes, you're so welcome, Daphne, examples of those. And then naturally it'll have the calendar underneath here, and then, it'll have a button, etc. This is what I've been working on. So it's not quite done yet, but I wanted to at least kind of show you, Blessed High Rising, kind of what's going on. The certification program, again, this is guided, self-paced, includes these particular courses. So you would need to, so you have, Daphne, you paid for your for Intro to Holistic Medicine 1. So I have a list of everybody who is paid for Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, and I'll be sending them an email. I was hoping to get that out this week, but I ran into a couple technical challenges with separating out the people. So they're working on it in tech support right now. So they'll get it figured out. And so then this section will have the certification program. Oh, I know. One of these days, girl, I'm gonna just know right off the top. And in one of these, it'll have the certification programs and when the start dates. It looks like I will be able to kind of start the holistic health coaching, if you're interested in that, by the fall. Like September timeframe is kind of when it looks like. So that'll be that start date. And then for healthcare providers, it'll probably be either that start date. Kayla, thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Yeah, it's a lot going on. It's never been my strong suit, even in practice, because people would come in with all kinds of different, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I default to their last name, like, oh, Mrs. So-and-so. Yeah, whatever I could pronounce better. So the certifications will be here as well. So this kind of goes over, that. So definitely check that out, keeping in mind that I'm still working on the calendar. So I've been kind of working on the start dates. So you see Jumpstart to Healthy Eating start date. And then I have to change this a little bit. This is not correct. So anyway, so, this kind of looking at it more in a calendar kind of format, so you could be able to see it more in a list. So, and trying to get it organized for the end of the year. So that's kind of been my goal, is to get all the classes that I'm going to teach between now and January. And then probably in like November, December, I'll release the schedule for maybe like the first 6 months of the year or whatever. So just again, trying to put that, because I also have to put together all of the syllabuses. Hey, Kushetic, I have to put together all of the syllabuses and make sure they're progressive and they're succinct, and also make sure that all the syllabuses are within the guidelines of the accreditation body. So, it takes a little bit of time to get these things, but I wanted to at least kind of show you, the structure and how it's going. All right. So I think that covers that. So let's jump back and see where we are. So I will post after this class, I will post the, what do you call it? I'll post the links underneath this video. So you'll have the links to the school website, to everything. So you'll be able to see that. Okay, let me flip this back around. Flip my camera. All right, so back around. Extreme close up. Okay, much better. Okay, cool. So here we are. All right, so that's the website. All right, so last little bits as we're finishing up here. Couple media announcements here, if I can see. So under my podcast, Decolonize Your Healthcare, I just did when I was in New York, I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Jim Stevenson is his last name. And he is a vitamin D researcher. He researched extensively vitamin D, the vitamin D testing, the vitamin D hydroxy, the vitamin D supplementation, the whole gamut. He has now amassed 20 years of research on vitamin D alone, a real anomaly, but just an amazing human being, like really like just salt of the earth. I recorded a podcast with him because so many people are misinformed about vitamin D. They take the 5D hydroxy, vitamin D 25 hydroxy, I think it is, which is not accurate. Also, they're taking the vitamin D2, 50,000 IUs a week, and wondering why their vitamin D never comes up, and also to all the liver implications that exist when you are deficient in fat-soluble vitamins. It may not even be a vitamin D issue. It could be a carnitine issue, could be a liver issue, could be an undermethylation issue. So I will be publishing that new episode. You can tune into that anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and also too on YouTube. I'll be releasing it on there under the playlist Decolonize Your Healthcare. Also next week, I just did an interview with an amazing human being. by the name of Nisha. She is an incredible human, and she does so much work in the trauma-informed space. She was a previous DV survivor herself, got herself out, healed herself, has worked in so many different sectors of trauma, meaning, on the court level, with the sheriffs, and now is in the public health space, which so is needed. And so we had a really great conversation about what is needed in healthcare, and especially from a trauma-informed and a culturally informed perspective. We do kind of talk a little bit about the current Cassie and Diddy situation, so just to keep it relevant to the times, and especially too because all of the things we've been seeing and people not really understanding. So also, thank you, Tiffany, for the heart me. Also goes over signs, symptoms of, hey, how are you? Signs, symptoms of trauma that you may not be aware of. And so a really powerful discussion. So I'll be releasing that on the podcast, Decolonize Your Healthcare, next week as well. So again, everywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, etc. Definitely comment, leave a review. We'd love to hear back. I love her. She's so great. And we just had an amazing discussion. With that being said, I really was inspired after recording that podcast with her to write an article, a column or an article for my column. I have a column with Psychology Today called Bringing Care Back to Healthcare, and just talking about the, intersectionalities that exist, that need to exist in healthcare that unfortunately are not there, i.e. medical providers re-traumatizing their patients or traumatizing their patients in general. So I will be releasing an article next week under my column that is about creating safe medical spaces and how to do that, if you are a provider, how to create a safe medical space for your patients, one that your patients feel heard, validated, seen, appreciated, while you also maintain your clinical boundaries. Because let's face it, people don't come to doctors, at least not at this point, when they're well. They come when they're imbalanced and in all kinds of states. And so you have to be prepared for that. But you also, have to make sure that you set healthy boundaries. I most recently had to let go of a patient because just the disrespect, but more importantly, the lack of clinical boundaries. And so it's really important to understand both perspectives when you're in a healthcare practice. So I'll be releasing that next week. So definitely keep that in mind. Hey, Jay, and I'll let you guys know. And then tomorrow I will be hosting a webinar, probably for like an hour and a half in the afternoon to discuss the new MAHA public health prescriptive support. I watched a doctor on ABC Live the other day talking about, once it was released about 2 days ago, and it's really in response to the childhood obesity epidemic. I guess when Michelle Obama had and Barack had this initiative, I don't know what happened, but I digress. I will go over all of it, of course. Tomorrow, I will also look at the policy side by side. And, spoiler alert, it's concepts of a plan, not a real plan. So I will definitely fill you guys in from a professional that has been in this field, not just a grifter looking to make a little bit of extra coin, but actually somebody who cares and has integrity, so that you can distinguish, what it is that you need to know in this next healthcare. I want to call it a crisis, but I don't want you guys to be afraid. We've got this. Education is key. I survived the last, I look back at so when I first kind of came out of school, that was like the ACA. That's what prompted me to even get my MPH, because I knew I'd have to be legislating, for our rights for medical freedom and all that. And so I was in the first Trump presidency. I was in private practice during the pandemic. I stayed open throughout the entire pandemic. I flew all over the country, all over the world actually, during the pandemic. And so I remember the chaos and the confusion and just the insanity that was healthcare and public health. Now, like, RFK Jr.'s like hold my beer, right? And so it's just going to be even more with the advent of, canceling USAID and the implications behind that, as well as the new big, beautiful whatever bill that's now going to threaten so many different so many millions of people's food security. That's going to create all kinds of other challenges and issues. So we're really going to talk about it and get, deep into it and prepare. Preparation is so important to make sure that you know what's coming up and what to do. And that's preventative. So I'll be recording that tomorrow. So with that being said, we are pretty much done, nice and short and sweet today. I just wanted to come on, show you guys the school website, show you where we are with accreditation, show you what our plans are, and hopefully you get a better idea of our student map. So if you just want to start to learn with very little investment other than time, then I welcome you to join the community. You can join the community, one of my communities, by clicking the third link in my bio. If you scroll down, and so that it says, join our holistic health community. That actually is set up to be an app. Believe it or not, there's a whole process through Apple that we have to go through, which I'm pretty much almost there, because you want to make sure you are far enough along in the development to be able to submit all of that information. You don't want to submit that information kind of haphazardly. So just for those people who've been asking, is there an app? Is there an app? There actually is an app. It's just, there are so many different things. We have a health tech company and we have a school. We have a media company as well. Okay, great. Yep. So, we have those two things. And so, there's a lot of, things that have to be put in place. And again, making sure we're consciously doing this so that everything is in order. So thank you so much for your patience while we're kind of getting things together. So we will do that. So, and just so you're aware, for Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, you'll have discussions for each week. That's due. So you'll just put your discussions under the Intro to Holistic Med Discussions tab in whichever community that you're in. You don't have to do them in all communities. Just make sure at least one of your communities you have gone through and answered all the questions in each under each discussion. So there's going to be 12 discussion questions. Then there are, you have your nutritional assessment to complete. You have your 4-week plan to complete, a week of your pH levels, and a week of your heart rate. So those are your deliverables that you'll be responsible for your to kind of get your certificate in Intro to Holistic Medicine 1. Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, we will discuss in the first week all the things that are, for that. I have worked on the syllabus for that course. It actually is already done. I just need to, as I'm working on all of the various web pages, it'll be on there. So you'll have a link to the syllabus as well. So lots of little details for sure. You'll also have the syllabus to Jumpstart to Healthy Eating as well. That's a 4-week course. It's going to be really fun. I just cut my teeth on nutrition. I did a lot of manual therapy, which led me into nutrition, which led me into functional medicine. Naturopathy was kind of always with me the whole time. I learn. I resisted it because it's just a political just zoo. But unfortunately, universe, God, creator got me all, in there. You can actually do them concurrently if you would like to. you wouldn't be able to apply the information from Intro to Holistic Medicine 2 until you complete Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, but you can follow along if you prefer a live class. Right now we have a promo where, if you invest in one course, you get the other one complimentary, because they do go together, and they are foundational courses, your prerequisites for holistic health coaching if you want to pursue that. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. You can benefit from the promo and then just have them, because you have the content, for a lifetime with the upgrades. So you don't, it's self-guided. So even though I'm teaching the classes live, once the classes are taught live, they're, sealed and it's self-guided and that sort of business. So you've got that. Yes, the promo is naturally for everyone right now. So yes, so you if you've already invested in Intro to Holistic Medicine 1, I think it was like 110 or somewhere in that around 110, 115, then you just pay the difference from the 297. So deduct what you paid from the 297, and that balance will cover your Intro to Holistic Medicine 2. So it's like a 2-for-1 kind of deal. And then naturally I go through, I teach the class. Once the class is taught, boom, the door is closed. So and then I move on to the next dual course that I'm teaching on the foundation. So I will teach one foundations course at a time, along with 2 collectives. You can email me at intro to holistic medicine, or sorry, you can info at holisticfamilypracticeva.com. I apologize. Let me put it in the chat because it is long. That way you can take a screenshot. All right, wonderful. Yes, and you have access to them forever, so you don't lose access or anything like that. Right now, I'm trying to kind of separate out the people who haven't invested from the people who have invested. The people who haven't invested at this point, I'm kind of moving them around into another one again, in order to get your certification. So they'll be able to have access to the first week. But after that, I'm kind of closing it down just simply for a proprietary perspective. I've had a lot of interest in these courses. And this is from years of blood, sweat, tears. I don't know what more of, but this has been this is my legacy. So I wanted to really keep it open so that people could really understand the value that I provide, because I'm, even though I'm very well known to a lot of people, there's still a lot of people who don't know who I am. So until the whole world knows Dr. Erica Steele and my work in holistic medicine, I'm going to kind of continue to try things and put things out and that sort of thing. So please interact with my content when you see it. Also, any of my media stuff, I would appreciate it. It does help, keep me kind of going and that sort of business. I've been in the field for so long. I get referrals after referrals after referrals. I still do treat patients, and thank you for your referrals if you have given a referral. I still do treat patients. I just do super part-time, and I'm very selective now of who I take on, simply because I've treated a lot of people, a lot of humans, and, really want my focus to be in education and teaching people what I've learned over the last, umpteenth years. And so really passing the torch over. So I definitely want and intend to have many, many people to pass the torch to educate. And people that have followed me for years know I've been talking about this forever. And, it's one step. There was no way that I could have carried the load of my practice and done this at the same time. It would have broke me. And so, leaving my practice was a really big decision. Leaving the US was a big decision. Taking a year off was a big decision. Getting my MBA was a big decision. All these things were really big, but they have really prepared me for this moment. So I'm really excited to teach. I'll be doing a live class tomorrow afternoon, so check that out on healthcare, the state of public health right now. And then I'll also be I'm missing these things. Present day. Oh, good. Oh, awesome, Ariel. I'm so glad that you're here too. Let me see if there's any other people on the IG. Nope. Okay, cool. Sorry, I missed your comments. So yeah, definitely, it's been a long road, but one that's been really intentional. So I'll be teaching about public health tomorrow in MAHA and the public health report, just so that you're aware of what we're dealing with. And then next week, bright and early Monday morning, we start in morning flow, 6 a.m. Feel free, if you are not in that time zone, or for whatever reason you don't like that timing, or whatever, that time doesn't work for you, the playlist is online, and so you can watch them at any time. I leave them open. And then I will, probably over the next week or two, start kind of doing the evening flows again on Tuesdays as well. I teach a Thursday class already, so that's why I'm gonna have to figure out my schedule. So I'll teach it. I may pre-record it for you guys, and then that way, I'm not, beholden to the time, but we'll see how it all goes. TikTok is kind of an anomaly, how it works, because it doesn't quite let you do so many pre-recorded things. I think there are workarounds, but we'll see how it goes. So anywho, any questions? Let's see. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, you can. Yes, Ariel. So yes, exactly. So it would be, you would have certification for both classes if you sign up, and then yeah, it works kind of with that. So $297 for the 2 classes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're good to go with that. So look out for the emails as I'm kind of finishing up building everything. I'm going to finish it up this weekend. It's mostly all the heavy stuff has been done. It's just all the little details. So website building and all that, and funnels and so many details. But hopefully when we get to holistic business and all of that, I'll teach you all of that super easy, and you'll be like, wow, oh my gosh, that's not bad. But for right now, and that was also part of me taking the year off, was to learn more of this kind of work and more video editing and all that kind of jazz. So I wouldn't have to be so dependent on the others. So all right, cool. Any other questions before I jump off? If you're interested in Intro to Holistic Medicine 2, all you'll do is click the link in the bio. The first form, link in the bio, fill that out for me. And it's an information form, and it will go over, and then I'll email you guys out first once I've built all that out, so you'll be able to sign up. And then also, if you... yeah, so that should work with that. And then if you just want to join the community, if you're like, I don't want to commit to anything, great, that's totally fine. Hit up the third link in my bio to join our complimentary holistic community. There's great resources in there, videos, all kinds of things. So awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. I really appreciate it. It's been a wonderful, beautiful experience kind of going over the school with you. Again, if you need to watch any of this over again, it will be on a new playlist that I started, Intro to Holistic Medicine 2. So that playlist will be on there, and this is the first video on that, so that you can have a deeper understanding. So awesome. You guys have an amazing day. I'm going to log off now on the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the IG. See you guys later. Let me see.